Welcome to Trench Talk, brought to you by Royal Retros. I'm Shane alongside the legendary Coach Phil, and today we're diving straight into the heart of football, the trenches. This show is all about the unsung heroes, the offensive and defensive linemen who battle every snap, shaping the outcome of every play. If you love the grit, power, and strategy that happens at the line of scrimmage, you're in the right place. We'll break down the techniques, stories, and mindsets that make linemen the backbone of every team. Whether you're a player, coach, or fan, get ready for insights, laughs, and inspiration from the toughest spot on the field. Ready to go, Coach?
I like the intro. Let's get it in, baby.
Let's get in. New concept. We were talking about this in the off season about diving in, providing a little bit more insight to O line, D line, the unsung heroes. We just saw it in the Super Bowl with Seattle just dominating the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. We're excited to bring this to everyone. Hopefully, you guys will enjoy it this year. And we got perfect day to release it. We got free agency right here, right now, going on. I know you wanted to jump in, talk about Jake Fresno, so we'll jump into that. There's a couple of free offensive linemen to talk about as well, another D lineman to talk. So, go ahead, Coach, and let's get going.
Well, I'm very excited to see Jake Seresna go to Winnipeg, man. I think for me being and for y'all that know, I'm a huge Willie Jefferson stan. I'm a huge Willie Jefferson fan. Willie had some of his best work when Jackson Jeffcoat was with him. He had a nice running mate with him. After Jackson retired, numbers kind of dipped a little bit. I think Willie got mad, had to move around a little bit in some situations, but he was more comfortable on the left edge at the rush position, being able to make plays, swat the ball down, be a disruptor. When you got a Jake Seresna who can play inside, can play the 3 tech, he can play the B gap, he can do his job, but you can also move him to the 1 tech, play the A gap, be a disruptor, and be someone that can also be active when it comes to having hands in the air, making the guard struggle. He's going to blow up the guard that's pulling. He's going to do his job, and I'm just very excited to see this for Winnipeg. I know as a Rider fan, you ain't supposed to be, excited for Winnipeg, anything for them, but hey, I love good football, so this is going to be fun to see what they can do and be creative with Jake and Willie and the rest of the defense, and it's going to be fun to see.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty obvious when Jackson left, where Willie kind of became the vocal point of that defensive line. Even when they brought in Vaughters last year, it just wasn't the same. I'm interested to see what happens with Seresna coming back after an injury year. It's a lot of money for a guy who is on the other end of 30, where injury concerns might start popping up.
But see, it's a double-edged sword because when we saw what Jake could do in Toronto, and we also saw what he could do originally in Edmonton. If Jake is healthy, Jake is one of the best D linemen in the league, and also not just interior, but just D linemen in general. If you give him the chance, he's going to make wonders. Now, his numbers are not going to be super duper like 30, 40 tackles, but he's going to get you. He can get you 10 sacks. He can get you about 25 tackles. You can get Willie out there and get him 10 sacks and get him about 25 tackles. That's half the fucking battle right there.
Yeah, and I mean, considering the work that they've put in on the other end of the ball, they've obviously re-signed Patrick Neufeld. They've signed Stanley Bryant, but they've also spent a significant amount of money bringing in Jarrell Broxton over from BC. I'm interested to see how that dynamic works, especially considering Broxton's been basically a left tackle his entire career. They missed Hardrick. It was pretty evident this year that they're missing that right tackle in Hardrick when he went over to Saskatchewan. I'm curious on how they played. Are they going to put Bryant over on the right side, move Broxton over for a year? But you basically have Bryant's replacement for 2027 if this is Stanley Bryant's last year in the CFL.
It's going to be funny to see what they can do because Winnipeg has, for the last 5-6 years, have been dominant as far as the offense goes. Then you take away Buck Pierce and put him in BC. You get a new OC in there. Do you try to keep things status quo, or do you mix it up a little bit and play to the benefits of your offensive line? They've been together forever. You did lose Yoshi to the Riders, but getting Broxton, put him in there. I'm interested to see what could happen. I mean, he's kind of already played in the system as far as what Buck's running in BC, but to see what they can do offensively new with their OC and that line, it's going to be scary. You're blocking for Brady. Most of Brady's runs in between the guard and the center. That's where his money is. So we're going to see what's going to happen this year with that.
Yeah, very like Winnipeg, you would think would go into a rebuild. They signed Brady to a 3-year deal in the offseason. You were kind of seeing, okay, which way do they go? Claris has had a couple of injury scares over the last couple of years. I think there was a serious concern of, okay, are you going to double down on the veteran core? And it seems like they have, and it's going to be very interesting going into 2026 on how that affects them, right? Because you wanted them to go in all out last year, they really didn't. Now it's like, okay, we only have maybe 1 or 2 years left before this core is done, and they're going out for a win.
You look at most offensive lines, and or just any like you look at in most offensive lines, you got about a good 6 to 8 year window if you keep that core together and you've been successful. Winnipeg is at that 7 8 year mark where, all right, we're older, we've been in the system, we've been here, we know our identity. Are we willing to adjust our identity to continue the run that we're on? I know last year they lost. It was a crossover. I remember it was a crossover, right? They played Montreal
Yeah.
this past season. So you see what happened with them in the playoffs. Are we still going to be smash mouth football with Brady? You signed Tim White. You've got whatever they're going to do with Dalton Schoen. I don't know yet. I know he's a free agent, but they said they weren't going to re-sign him, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
So you've got Tim White. You still got Dembski. You still have some weapons, but your bread and butter is running the ball. That's just how I see it. Are they going to maximize the last year or two of this window that they have with this core line? Because this line is phenomenal. One of the best offensive lines we've seen in a long time in the CFL.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see how they mesh together, given everything, and obviously new OC in Winnipeg should be very interesting. Wanted to get your thoughts on what's going on in Saskatchewan. We saw it with Toronto 2 years ago with the max exodus of elite talent. Seeing it this year in Saskatchewan, especially on the defensive side of the ball. AJ Allen going to Ottawa, CJ Revis following him. Malik Carney is heading to Edmonton. Micah Johnson has retired. Don't really know what's going on. I think Mike Rose has re-signed. Shane Ray is a free agent. That turnstile on defense, that's going to be problematic for them, right? The offensive line is taken care of. They've brought back most of, if not all, their starting offensive linemen from last year. But on that defensive side of the ball, there's some holes.
Yeah, that was I knew from the moment we won the Grey Cup, I knew we weren't going to be able to re-sign everybody. It's kind of a normal thing in the CFL, picking guys off of the winning team. But in this situation, I'm happy for you because you picked up two great players. You picked up AJ, who's coming to his own, and you've got CJ, who I think the world of CJ. But it's going to come down to, can everybody come back and just be? It's not going to be the same. Not going to be the same group of guys, but can everybody buy in? Can everybody get the system under them? Can everybody gel together and move as one? That's my thing. Because the last 2 years, this defense has been outstanding. How do you keep the standard the same? Well, you keep some of the core. You've got Benoit, you've got Mike Rose, you've signed Vaughters, you still got Campbell, you still got Roland Milligan. The pieces are still there. It's just kind of plug and play and keep and adjust. But one thing I do want to say also is Micah becoming a D-line coach, great move, because the ace that they had on that defense, people give Coach Mace the credit, which is great. I love Coach Mace. He deserves all the credit in the world. But you guys picked up Coach Philip Daniel.
Yeah.
That when I saw that, I was like, damn. And I keep in touch with Coach Daniel. He's a savant when it comes to talking about the D-line and teach you. He's taught me a few things, so you guys got a wizard over there. So lucky bastard.
Yeah, I mean, everything I've heard about him, it seems like one of the better up-and-coming coaches in this league. So I'm really excited to have a chance to talk to him once camp opens up and get to see him in person when training camp opens up in May. And obviously, we forgot Baldonado also signed or reportedly signed. We'll see. Obviously, everything is up in the air until it's officially announced by the club. Even if they've come to agreements, we've seen things fall through previously. But I think Saskatchewan's a very interesting case on that D line, given Malik Carney is an all CFL talent. This losing Micah didn't put up a lot on the stat sheet. I think people discredit Micah because he might not have been a flashy guy, but he was taking double teams every single week. He was basically the glue that held that D line together, allowing one-on-ones on the edge and even allowing one-on-ones inside. I'm very curious to see how losing that type of player inside will affect everything else.
But that's where you have Mike Rose step up and be that anchor. Michael was the anchor for that defense. When you take on those double teams, it lets your backers fly and let them go play. It makes it hard because at the end of the day, when you're in the West, you have to face Edmonton with Rankin. You got to face Winnipeg with Brady. You got to face BC with Butler. So it's going to be heavy run at times, and still be alert for the play action. Still be alert for the outs. It's all about. There's a lot of balance, but it's still run heavy in situations. So Mike can take it on those double teams, letting the backers fly and let them make plays. That's important. So I think Mike Rose will be able to step up and make that happen and take on the role that Micah played.
Hopefully. I mean, Mike Rose seemingly did it in Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he'll be able to be that guy in Saskatchewan. Moving over to the East. Well, technically East and West, because Hamilton's offensive line just got decimated by Edmonton. They're continuing to revamp their offensive line after spending quite a bit of money there last year. They've brought in 3 of Hamilton starters. To me, it's always interesting when a team pulls 3, 4 starters from another team because it doesn't always work out. This is one thing I'm kind of hesitant with Ottawa is you bring in 3 guys from the same system. It doesn't always work out in your favor. Sometimes they come in and they take off where they were. Sometimes they take a little while to get adjusted. On the offensive side of the ball, you need them running. You need them to get going right away. Bringing in 4 guys to learn 3 guys to learn a whole new system. That's ballsy. That's ballsy by Ed Hervey.
But Ed's gonna spend the money. Ed's big spender, and him going to go get those guys. Would you say it's very similar? Them going from Hamilton, it'll be a quick adjustment for them because Cody is a gunslinger. Cody's going to throw it. Because you're blocking for Bo, who's a gunslinger. You're going to block for Cody, who's a gunslinger. You don't have to worry about Trey Ford coming in and Whirly Dervishing and going all over the place.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, definitely more in line with what you were doing in Hamilton than anything else, knowing that you can actually just need to create a pocket for Cody. So I feel like in the run game is where you're really going to see the issue. Like the communication, getting in line with everyone else, those can create massive holes, if you're not in sync. And training camp isn't long. It's 2 weeks, preseason game, and then right into regular season. So you can't have another bad start. You can't have another 1-4 start.
No.
For Edmonton, I love the moves. You bring in Bordner, Woodmansey, and Murray, but how much of that is going to impact your offense, and how much are you willing to let the growing pains? How much runway do they have before it's been this just isn't meshing? Because we've seen bad starts hurt them in the end. You have a decent, you have David Beard, you have Mark Corti, you just brought in O'Donnell, who has spent the last couple of years over in the NFL. Bringing these 3 guys over, one, are they really who's going to be starting? I would expect that you probably have Murray starting left tackle, Woodmansey's probably in at right guard, and then Bordner is maybe that extra guy, or they're going to cut someone, but. We've seen how an offensive line can negatively impact a team. I'm worried about Edmonton's offensive line being able to mesh. On paper, they're probably the best, but I don't know if they're going to mesh. And just because they're the best on paper doesn't mean they're going to be best on the field.
But then you have to ask yourself the question. Most of the time, and I'm glad you brought this up. Most of the time, and I wrote this down. Most of the fronts that you see from defenses. Over front, under front, double 3 front. They come out the gate with one of those. Then they mix it up. You see a 50. You'll see different types of fronts like that. You might see, more of a double three at some point in time, but it might work in their favor because you'll see the same tendencies over and over and over again. Unlike in the NFL where you see guys do the new thing is double mug. You really don't see that much in the CFL, but the tendencies are going to be similar to where they can pick up, they can gel, they can communicate. They'll be able to say, "Hey, he's hot, he's hot, he's hot, he's dropping, he's dropping, he's dropping." So I'm interested to see that O line work because you're going from Hamilton where they didn't really have their running back position set. Whereas in Edmonton, you got Justin Rankin, who his style could work in their favor. That's just what I see.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. I'm curious. Like, I mean, you watch a lot of it. Watch them last year. It seemed like a lot more zone run blocking. It looked like it was like, hey, let Rankin pop a hole, and most people will admit that zone blocking is probably the easiest one to learn because you're just taking the person right in front of you. It's just it's whoever crosses your face. You're going one way. You're either going left or right. You're taking the person that's crossing your face, and you're just moving them to the other side. So, assuming that it's the same style of offensive blocking, it shouldn't be an issue. But this team has I don't think Edmonton has it's like Ottawa, right? You have the best team on paper going into the season, like last year. You look at Edmonton and Ottawa, and they arguably had the best team on paper on
Yeah.
both offensive and defensive side of the ball. They were two of the teams where you looked at on paper, and you're like, oh, those two teams should be the top teams in their division, and then they weren't.
And and I forgot to mention this earlier. So the season 2024 season, going to the end of it, they had probably the hottest defense when they had Moncrief and they had Niles, and y'all bastards stole Niles from Edmonton. That I'm fucking mad at y'all. And then Nick Anderson, that D line with Sean Oakman, Jake, and all them. That'll get you the ball back at any point in time. But with the offense, they struggled. They struggled heavily in the run. And I was because at one point they had Kevin Brown, they had Justin Rankin. They were trying to figure out who was going to be the guy. But with Rankin being the running back he's quick, but he's decisive. And I like that. I like that he's got a little Le'Veon Bell in him where he can be patient when he needs to let the holes develop. If they're running a zone blocking scheme, the holes will be there for him. So just give it about training camp to about week 4. That's my window for them to develop.
That's a pretty generous window. I'm gonna pull up their schedule because I think they have a bye week. I think they're one of the teams that has like an early bye week.
I think it's week 2 or week 3.
Because I know like Ottawa's the same way. Ottawa has like a week 2 bye week, which I'm personally, if you're a team and you have a lot of turnover, new coach, one thing I think will help Ottawa is because they have a new coach, players can report earlier and take a little bit extra time to learn the system. They have a week 2 bye as well, and they open up against Ottawa in Ottawa. So, you know what? That's actually fair. If you week 5, their 4th game, that's I think the pretty fair timeline. A 5-week mel with a bye week in there to kind of understand you get a game, and if you lose that game, there's plenty of film to go over. If you win that game, you're heading into your bye really well, and you're like, okay, things are going well. Let's continue to build. So I think Edmonton with that week 2 bye is probably in a pretty good situation to gel overall. It's still going to be all about what they do because again, we see it year and then the last probably 3-4 years where best team on paper, worst team results wise.
Yeah, I mean McKisnick is still the OC in Edmonton, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's gonna want to slung rock. He's gonna, and knowing McKisnick, after talking with Vernon Adams when I interviewed him, it's more of it's really West Coast style offense. So I love the West Coast offense. It's got some concepts in there of that. You've got Austin Mack out there. You've got your weapons. Even though their receiver room is kind of a little light, it's predicated on the run. So it's going to be good to see. It's going to be good to see what Edmonton could do with that line.
Yeah, honestly, Austin Mack, underrated
Hmm.
acquisition for Edmonton. A team that was drastically missing a top receiver last year gets arguably the best receiver on the market.
But you got to have some depth.
Yeah,
You got to have a 1A, a 1B, and then a C, a dope ass C.
and I don't think they have really any depth right now.
That's
Like, I
crazy.
think they have a couple. I think Dunbar is a free agent,
Hmm.
and Curly Giddens
Mitchell.
is a free agent. Like, and they haven't really done anything to bring those, like, replace them or bring those guys back. So,
Yeah, we'll see.
well, we'll talk plenty more about this tonight on the weekly show. So again, if you're watching this, we're going to be going live with Blake and Cole as the CFO Weekly Show around 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific time. You can follow us on Twitter or X, YouTube, Facebook, and we'll dive more into free agency during that period. One team, just before we move on to the top 10 D linemen thing, because again, these will probably be about 45 minutes long
Yeah.
for our viewers and listeners, and they will be available on podcast form. Probably then within 24 hours of us recording them, it'll be up on YouTube and all that. But one team I wanted to address, kind of on the offensive side of the ball, is um, Ottawa. Like,
Yeah.
they haven't done anything. They've brought back their 5 starters. You know, Pelios, Bladek, Godber, Desjardins, and Boyd are all back. They haven't really brought in any kind of depth outside of who they already had on their roster. To me, it's concerning. Like, I mean, I personally believe that if DJ Allen or Dijon Allen went to the window, he probably would have ended up being with Ottawa. But this team has been decimated by injuries on the offensive line the last couple of years. It's concerning right now that there's been zero movement in that regard.
I think they don't want to make too many moves. I think they made the safe, right moves right now. They've shored up that defense. Offensively, you still got Gino, you still got Hardy. What they're gonna do about Addison, I don't know because I would like to see Addison stay. Um, but that line, as long as you got Bladdock, you're gonna be okay. I like him. I like Bladdock. That motherfucker can work. That motherfucker will take on anybody, and he's not the biggest guy, but damn it, he's got the heart. He's made to be where he's made for that Ottawa line. He's gonna be that guy. So it just comes down to injuries and the new scheme, which I think will work in their favor. I think they have the pieces to be able to make. And why am I drawing a blank on old boy's name, the new head coach? I keep
Dinwiddie?
wanting, huh? Dinwiddie. There you go. I knew it was something with a D. I knew it. But with Dinwiddie's offense and with Drew Brown, they've got a running back now. They've got offense. They've got receivers. This could be something nice, Shane. I'm trying to tell you, y'all on paper, y'all look beautiful.
On paper, we look great, but we've also looked great the last 3 years.
But you actually have an offensive guy.
Yes.
He's going to call the plays. And his shit works. It may not have worked last year because Chad was out, but he's got the right quarterback and shoring up that line. It's okay. As long as nobody really you're gonna have injuries. Injuries are inevitable. But you got it. You've got your core.
Yeah. I mean, I want to see Ottawa go after like Trayvon Tate or Jamar McGloster, which is funny because they've spent time in Ottawa previously. But I think from a depth perspective and a ratio perspective, Ottawa net with the addition of, with AJ Allen and even the performance and progression of Lucas Cormier, you have the ability to now start a Canadian at will, which means you don't have to start 5 or 4 offensive linemen. Bringing in an American right tackle as an option and I mean, I like DJ Jones. I think DJ Jones has the potential to be a future guy, but McGloster was, very serviceable with Montreal, and Trayvon Tate was very serviceable with Saskatchewan. I would like to see one of those two guys end up in Ottawa, even as like a rotation or depth piece, force Pelios to earn that right, like starting right tackle spot. Considering we don't really have any depth there to begin with. Like Dante Bull retired and that screwed everything up. I do think they'll probably go with an
Wait,
offensive
what?
lineman. Dante Bull retired after like in training camp last year, and it derailed everything.
This dude was the #1 pick, and he retired after 2 damn years.
Yeah, dude had injuries. Dude was hurt during his draft year.
I remember that, but
Couldn't stay
whatever
healthy.
happened to him?
His legs couldn't stay healthy. It was his lower body injuries.
Yeah, all right, I understand that.
He just, to be fair, he was a project. He probably shouldn't have gone first overall. I think it was one of those situations where like his upside, his ceiling was probably a lot higher given his size, where they're like, hey, if he works out, he's going to work out.
Yeah.
He was kind of a swing and a miss. Like he was a boomer bust type prospect, and he unfortunately busted.
But I see but one thing I'll say about this with Dinwiddie being the head coach and the OC. With his experience having AJ Ouellette, Andrew Harris, just great running backs back there, and even like at one point Kevin Brown, which I was surprised that it didn't work for Kevin and Kadeem Carey. I was surprised it didn't work for Kevin, but the run is going to be y'all best friend. Running the ball is going to be y'all best friend this year. It doesn't have to come down to Drew down the stretch throwing 60 passes just for y'all to win a game. And that line that somebody's got to secure that left tackle spot, because I'm tired of seeing Drew get blown up and then throw interception. You got to give him time in the pocket. Just give him 3 seconds. 3 seconds in the pocket.
Well, this is funny because there's a bunch of numbers for PFF that like Dino Boyd was actually one of the better left tackles last year.
But there's no differently though.
There's no way to confirm that, right? Like,
right.
The PFF needs to make their scoring like public for every player, just like they do in NFL. Even if it's behind like a paywall, at least people who aren't directly related to PFF or the CFL can vouch like, hey, yeah, these numbers are accurate. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to sit here and say that they're flubbing the numbers, but if someone tells you a number, you're not just going to automatically assume it's truth. You're going to want to go and do your own research and make sure you like the information you're being told is accurate. So, but according to PFF, he was one of the better graded left tackles last year. I don't know.
The film says different.
Exactly. Like I'm not huge. Like, I mean, I like Dino. He's a good guy. He's, I've had the pleasure to talk to him multiple times. Like, great guy. And maybe it's just the fact that everyone else on the line struggles that it makes him a little bit more exposed, because we focus so much on the left side that like when the right, I mean, we just saw it with Will Campbell, right? Like we talk about the offensive line struggling, but we point out that like the left tackle was struggling the most.
But when you're the left tackle next to the center, you are the most important guy on that line. One of my high school coaches said it's center, depends on the line that you got, center, left tackle, guards, right tackle. We don't really give a fuck about you, but you out there. Yeah. As disrespectful as that is, that's kind of how the rankings go. So as long as you got a good center and that left tackle knows I am not finna let this motherfucker get hit time and time again, it's good.
Yeah. And, breaking news real quick, just announced by the Red Blacks, they have signed former Rough Rider linebacker CJ Rivas to a 1-year contract. So he is under contract for 2026. He'll be eligible to test the market next winter. But that should just come through from the Red Blacks. So nice little breaking news for our listeners who may not be on Twitter or X right now. But before we jump into our top 10 defensive linemen heading into 2026, just a little word from today from the sponsor, Royal Retros. If you don't know, we are affiliated with them. We have our own clothes like Trench Talk, 13th Man Football, and Canadian Football Fanatics. There are shirts available to purchase on the Royal Retros website. You can scan the QR code on the screen at the top left corner. It'll redirect you right there. You can use promo code 13th Man Football to get 10% off your purchase. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. There'll be more coming along as the season progresses. Hopefully sweaters, hats, and other product along the lines. But yeah, let's just jump right into the top 10 D linemen. I know you have your list, I have my list, but you start and we'll discuss.
All right. So at number 10, I've got Isaac Ajemi Berglund, 29 tackles, 11 sacks. He was on a monster run in the postseason. That motherfucker was making things happen. He had to step up. He made things happen. I love his game. Plain and simple, right there with Isaac, and he's having a really good season this year. Hopefully, you want to go with number 10? You're 10.
Yeah, let me just pull it up. It was up. You continue going, I'll go after.
All right. Number 9, Jonathan Tavai, Inglewood's finest, 26 tackles, 5 sacks. Now, I know people are going to probably say, well, he only had 5 sacks, but he plays interior. He makes a difference. And when you got a Micah Alway behind you, Micah's going to get about 110 tackles. Where the hell do you think Micah's going to get most of them when teams are running the ball? Old boy's going to take most of the pressure. He's going to take the double team. But his one thing I do like about him is his ability to get pressure. So that's going to be fun to see this year. Number 8, Falarin Ormolade, 19 tackles, 4 sacks. Falarin, what more can be said about him, man? Man can just ball. Number 7, Julian Hauser, 43 tackles, 16 sacks, led the league in sacks. That was very surprising to me that last year he just balled and was able to get 16 sacks. But in that defense, that Hamilton defense, anybody can go out there and eat. So I'm interested to see, can he have a repeat performance? Number 6, Mike Rose, 17 tackles, 6 sacks. We've mentioned it before. He's going to be stepping up and taking over the role that Micah is now that he's D-line coach. I'm interested in seeing will Mike do it, knowing him, talking with him, really good dude. This dude is going to be a key piece for the Riders to be able to repeat. Number 5, Mike Wakefield, 24 tackles, 3 sacks. Now, I know numbers aren't really jumping off the screen, but when you look at Mike Wakefield, when they had Lorenzo Malden, Bryce Carter, that was a scary ass D line right there. But Mike being able to do his job, even when they didn't have them, when it was injuries, whatever the case may be, Mike still ate and still made things happen. So he's number 5. Number 4, Malik Carney, 39 tackles, 8 sacks, top tier elite rusher. He's quick, shifty, great hands. You can put him in any front, and he's going to make a play happen. I have yet to see any front that's been called out there on the field where he didn't eat or he wasn't a focal point on the defense. Number 3 might be controversial, but when healthy, game changer. Jake Seresna, 16 tackles, 1 sack, 1 interception. Injuries are just fucking with my man Jake, man, and I hate to see it, but it's interesting to see what he can do when he's healthy. Game changer. Number 2, Jalen Hutchings, 39 tackles, 8 sacks. I believe he led the league in pressure. This man kept Calgary in games, especially the one against the Riders that I remember. He was eating, he was fucking up Trevor bad. So he's a gamer. And number 1, you got to go. I don't want to say number 1 just because he's the back-to-back most outstanding defensive player, but it's because he had a slow start and finished strong and still made a difference for BC. Matthew Betts. I didn't want to, because I was originally going to switch him with Hosier, but I have to see more film on Julian to give him that. I don't want to just base off the stats. I want to be able to see with my own 2 eyes more film on him. So I'm going to look into that. But Matthew, what I know, what I've seen, he is the damn defensive line most of the time.
Yeah, no, I mean honestly, that's a solid list. I had mine. Apparently, I deleted it, so my bad. I had it literally written out the other day, and I might have not saved it. Oops.
I do have an honorable mention. I do have one honorable mention. I was gonna put him in season. All right, it's okay. With Willie having Jake out there, It's going to make a difference. Willie's going to be able to, they'll be able to call more stunts. Will he be able to go upfield more, be able to make plays and be more active? So I expect a bounce back here from Willie Jefferson as my honorable mention.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really disagree with the list. Again, maybe this is just me. I mean, I was vocal about it during the CFL Weekly show last year. Betts at number one is just a little high.
It is.
Like personally,
I could, you could put Hutchins there. I could put Hutchins there, but you know what?
honestly, I think
We can change it. We can change it. I'm all about
Berglund. I love the Wakefield picks. I personally think Wakefield is severely underrated for what he can provide to, like, what he provides to Ottawa. It's because he wasn't starting originally. Like, with the way the ratio was, he would bless him to Tayala would be the starter, and then he would kind of rotate in throughout the year or throughout the game. But I personally think Michael Wakefield is one of the best interior D linemen in the league, and he's just severely underappreciated because he doesn't put up these flashy numbers.
But it's what he can do. What fascinates me is watching him in the A gap and then what he can do in the B gap. It's fascinating what he can do just off the premise of it's attack. It's full attack. He knows where he's going. He doesn't get way too far in the backfield where he overreads the play, but he is just disciplined. And it makes a difference for that defense. You could tell they're being successful because of what's happening in the front line. So he makes a difference. So underrated.
Yeah, and it's just his ability to handle double teams also surprisingly well.
Yeah.
Like his ability to go against, if he's in the one tech, and he's getting doubled by a guard and center, his ability to maneuver or even just handle it and let a backer come in to finish a play, it's honestly impressive that he doesn't get more frustrated.
Well, it starts with his get off. His get off is quick.
Yeah.
It's not, for someone his size, he's my height. He's 6 foot, but he's 265, and most guys are 265 to 275. You're quick, but you're like, your burst is like, all right, I'm here. I'm plugging the gap. I'm not trying to chase the quarterback. I'm just plugging my gap. I'm building a fence. Him, it's more, I'm going to get off this line and I'm going to fuck you up.
Yeah. The amount of also times that he's just taking a lot, like a running back, because he can just explode through the inside. I mean, the quickest line to the linebacker to the quarterback is through the middle. The amount of times where we've seen a running back just kind of have to step up to take him on head on. That's not an easy task. I think there's very few running backs in this league that, if you ask them to step up into the middle of the pocket and take Wakefield head on, would be able to find any success.
You know, you mentioned about his double team, his ability to take on a double team. Most guys, when they're taking on a double team, they try to split it. He has the ability he turns his hips. He's able to be active, get back there, and that's he's got a little finesse to his game. But I like that. Him, Jake, and I'll even give Jalen the rub that they can take on a double team and just get that motherfucker out the way and just go make something happen.
Yeah, for me, it's I think Berglund at 10 is a little low.
Yeah,
like it's just one of the, like, and again, these top 10s are always up for debate, which is why we love doing them.
Mm-hmm.
But he was arguably the best defensive lineman for Montreal last year. In that game against Winnipeg in the playoffs, he was a dominant force across the board. He's a guy that I think could be put into like the Willie Jefferson territory after a very, like, if he has a very strong year this year, I think he has to be in that top 5 category and be in that category of, like, he may not always be up on the stat sheet because, like, Willie Jefferson isn't always on the stat sheet.
No.
But you feel his presence every game. You see his presence every game. And I think Berglund, if he has another strong 2026 year and continues to progress, is going to end up in that same conversation where it's like, you may not always see him or you may not always hear his name on the stat sheet at the end of the game, but he's going to impact the game, one way or another.
You mentioned him in the same conversation as Willie. Now, as I'm gonna take Philip out of this one because Philip the fan is gonna be like, that's disrespectful as fuck. But Coach Phil, by Coach Phil hat on, yes, I agree with you. Because Willie is a straight up athlete. Their styles are different, but they have a few key similarities. Yes, they're not going to always pop up on the stat sheet, but when they do, it's key plays. It's second down. It's knocking the ball down. It's getting to the quarterback. It's making the right read. It's picking up a slip screen and blowing up the running back. And in pursuit, it's the little things you don't see on camera that you see. Me and you see, but the average fan's not going to notice. So it's going to be interesting to see what Isaac can do. But at 10, only reason why I have him at 10 really is because he didn't jump out on the screen to me early in the season. But down that last 6-week stretch lead and then going into the playoffs and then Grey Cup, that motherfucker was balling.
Yeah. And honestly, I love the fact that your list isn't just DNs. Because I think like we see these lists come out even on like the NFL side, the NCAA side, U Sports, it's always DNs. Like your top 10 list is like 10 different DNs. This one has a mix of edges and interior D linemen, which personally it's refreshing. Because
that's the real trenches right there is the interior. You know it, I know it. It's they take on, yes, the sexy position is edge, rush and quick. It's just what it is. The sacks, getting sacks is a beautiful thing. It's what you get paid to do. But we all know, as you being an offensive guy, me being a defensive guy, guards, centers, that's that interior. That's money. That's the stretch. That's down the stretch. I need to run the ball up the gut. That's the real trenches. Not knocking the edges, but that's the trenches to me right there.
Quickest path to the ball is through the middle, right? If you're a D lineman, if you're an interior guy, you're the quickest guy to the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're a guard or a center, you're the quickest. Like your path is the quickest to the ball, so you need to get ass. If you're a tackle, you're generally one-on-one, and for most tackles and most offenses, blocking schemes just require you to push the ends out, right? Like if you're run blocking, especially if you're zone blocking, I think it's more prominent in zone. All you're doing is just pushing that end as far away from the play as possible.
Like you want to get him in the alley. You really want to get him out there.
Like you just want him out of the way.
Yeah.
If he want, like one thing I was always taught growing up was like you let him, if he wants to run past you, and we're running the ball that way, and he doesn't want to contain or maintain his gap, just follow him. Just let him go, because 9 times out of 10 he will not be quick enough to turn the edge if you're right in front of him. So if you're an edge, if you're a tackle on zone blocking, you're pretty easy. But pass blocking, you're one-on-one and you can get exposed so easily, which is why I think the edge rushers get so much prominent, because they're just one-on-one. It's just flashy one-on-one plays where you either win or you lose. And, at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. At the end of the day, yeah, like especially like when you're playing tackle, and I can't stand tackles. They be the dirtiest motherfuckers out there. I truly and being a linebacker, when we had to go under and we're like, hey, we need you on. If I played weak side, I'm playing Will. Like, oh, go under. We're going weak side. Like, man, fuck you and this tackle. I'm not doing that shit. Y'all want to get in here. I hate when they be like, oh, all up in your jersey, all up in the top. Like, get the fuck off me, bro. Like, leave me alone. But no, that's their job. Push the edges out, get them out there D gap area in the alley, and once they do that, it opens up a lane where if he has to bounce out, it's there. So
exactly. But I mean, hey, it's not a hold if you're in tight, right? Like that's generally the rule of thumb is if your hands are in tight, it's not going to be a hold. So if it's in tight up top or in tight down below, it's fair game.
Let y'all tell it.
You know what? The biggest piss off as an offensive lineman was whenever a D lineman would try to reach over and grab your shoulders and try to pull you down. Honestly, if you do that, especially one-on-ones and like in practice, if you're reaching over for your like to grab your teammates like shoulder pads and try to push him down that way, it's a coward move, in my opinion.
Hey,
because in my opinion, it just means you can't win on a finesse move and you can't win on a bull rush.
Right.
Because like at that point, like I get it, you're kind of eliminating most options for linemen because either you're going to hold or you're getting past. But at the same time, if someone's going for my shoulders and you're inside that tackle box, I'm not someone who likes to cut, but I'm cutting you at your knees at that point. Because
you're a dirty motherfucker. Oh, you see.
See, I don't like cutting. I blew up my ACL because some motherfucker went helmet to my knee, and my knee did not like it. So personally, I'm not one to cut. I don't like it. I think it's a bitch move, especially if you're inside. Like I think we talk about player safety, and it's like, it's like, you know what? On both sides of the ball, if you're cutting, you're a coward.
Okay, it all depends on the situation. So, for example, if I'm getting called, me as a defensive coordinator, if I call a twist right here with my backers, I want a twist right there, and I want my nose to take on take on the center, motherfucker. If you cut as a linebacker, former linebacker, if you as a guard try to cut me, I'm gonna sock you in your fucking face. Don't do that shit. Don't go at my knees. Hit me in the head, blow my shoulder out, whatever. But don't cut me at my knees. I've been there, done that. No, fuck no. That's dirty as hell.
Yeah, I'm not one to cut. I mean, I've been cut on both sides. Like I played both sides growing up. If you have to cut someone, you're not good, in my opinion. Like I feel like cutting is such a last resort type thing on both sides of the field. Like I think my biggest peeve was, you're in open field and you're about to hit a corner and they just drop. Like they just drop for your legs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I get it. You're a corner, you're small, you're tiny. But I'm gonna knee you in the head. Or I'm gonna lay it on your stomach.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drive my knee in your stomach because you're not like cutting someone is just putting yourself and them at a greater risk for injury, and I can't do it. Never ask my players to cut. I refuse it to be a part of any type of package that I've been a part of. I'm like, I don't do it. Like it's just not something I think it shouldn't be in the game. Like it's just all you're doing is risking injury when you do it.
You got these old head offensive line coaches. You gotta set the tone early. Cut a motherfucker. Cut everything around you.
You want to set the tone? Just go hit him in the mouth.
Right.
Don't cut. I mean, I grew up the same way. Like people were like, "Oh, if they're getting off a little early, just cut them. They'll take a second."
Right.
Or change up the snap count. Not my fault. Your quarterback can't do anything more than a basic snap count. Or your receivers are too stupid to stay on side. That's not my fault.
But that shows that you have you shouldn't even be out there on the field if you got to cut somebody. That's just me. I think if you resort to cutting, you either getting your ass kicked, you can't keep up with the edge, you can't keep up with the nose or the tackle. You can't keep up with nobody. Yeah. Get your ass off the field.
Yeah, I agree. I think I've maybe cut once, maybe twice, and one of them I was on the defensive line. And I was getting double team. I didn't even cut. I just dropped my shoulder. I dropped to a knee. It works. Catches them off guard. It's just, I don't know, diving directly at someone's legs when you're that in close to each other. It's a recipe for disaster.
Bro, if you're 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", and you cutting someone 6 foot like me, bro, we gotta fight. Like, what are you doing? That's punk shit.
Exactly. Like again, if I couldn't beat you 1-on-1 without cutting, like I need to go work on my game because clearly, like at the end of the day, cutting actually hurts people more than it helps because you're taking yourself out of the play because you're not going to be able to pop yourself back up and start blocking if you're cutting right away. Like you're basically admitting defeat and you're taking yourself out of the play. You're not helping anyone.
No.
Like,
and if you cut somebody, do you know how hard it is to get up off the ground after you cut somebody and you're going tempo?
yeah, it is draining. Like, I admit I've fallen on a motherfucker or two because like they've tried to cut me, and my response, if you're gonna cut me, I'm just gonna fall on you. Like I'm just straight up just gonna be like, oh my bad, I'm trying to get up, try to do the turtle move. Most refs won't call it. It's not necessarily holding. They tried to cut me. I fell. You know, I'll pull a soccer, I'll flop a little, and I'll just flop on you. And trying to get someone who's like 275 plus pounds off of you when you're barely 250 and who's intentionally putting all their weight on you, not my fault that you're getting mad. Don't cut.
If you get me, my thing is this: if you neutralize my counter and then my counter to my counter, you got me. But if you come at me and you come in second level and you try to make something, no, I will fuck you up. No, don't go for my knees. I've already been through it. Don't do it.
That is the one thing as a like as a lineman, it's like, nope, you can anything else but cutting. I will, you know, you want if someone wants to get their arms up, you want to give a little forearm shiver into their ribs. You know what? That's fair. You know, but don't cut.
The worst one, and we'll get about it off of this one. The worst one is if I'm coming off the edge and I'm dipping that shoulder. And you
Technical difficulties, guys. Apologize. Hope you guys all been enjoying. And again, remember, as we wait for Coach Phil to return, the QR code on the top left of your screen can direct you right to Royal Retros for our merch. Use promo code 13th Man Football to get 10% off. What were you saying about dipping your shoulder, Coach?
If I'm coming around the edge and I'm dipping that shoulder, and the first thing you do is try to just push my shoulder into the fucking ground, you's a bitch. You's a real bitch, dog.
Hey man, use your momentum to get you on the ground. That's all I do.
But no, it's bad. It's okay. If I'm on the right, if I'm on right side, strong. If I'm struck on right, and I'm dipping with my left, and the first thing you do is push down, and you know I'm already to the ground, and my hand gets stuck, and I pop my shoulder out, I'm whooping your ass, dog.
Hey, that's a you problem though, because one thing they taught, like when I was growing up, one thing they taught me was never expose yourself to an offensive lineman.
But I'm dipping.
So if you're exposing your shoulder, and as an offensive lineman, we're taught to use the D lineman's, leverage. So if you're dipping, our first instinct is to just, hey, you want to dip, you want to go low, we'll just use your own leverage and your own momentum to just make you eat some grass. And that's all we're doing.
Okay, but maybe because of me back then, I was very unorthodox with how I did things. My thing was I'm dipping the shoulder to set up the spin inside. So it would work, but if I'm going up against, my weakness was I didn't like going up against dudes that were like 6'5", 6'4", and up at tackle. I hated that. I never could master that because my speed and my finesse just wouldn't work against motherfuckers. They would just grab you. They'd be like, sit down, sit down, sit down.
No, that's fair. Again, I'm much better. I was always a much better guard than I was a tackle.
Yeah.
Like if I was gonna go, when I was looking at going to uni and whatnot, it was very, very clear that I'd probably make it more as a guard or a center than a tackle.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I went to a CFL free agency camp before, it was a combine at Carlton.
Oh God, not again.
2017, 2018. I think 2018. And I was going in as a guard. I'm like, you know what? Like I'm a guard center. I can manhandle most people inside. I have good leverage. I have a good stance. I can make myself looked good being a guard and center.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going through everything, and it was kind of a spur of the moment thing. So like, we were literally told by our coach, like, "Hey, you guys can go do this. It's $50. You can bring your gear." We've been, because Carlton's hosting it, like anyone who is CFL draft eligible or past the 3-year mark can go try out. And I'm like, cool, that'll be great. That'll be fun. It'll be a nice little exposure. And I ended up going at left tackle because they're like, does anyone have left tackle experience? Not a single other person there. There was probably like 6 or 7 linemen. But none of them had like any type of like left tackle experience. They never I'm like, I can do it. I'm not great. Like, it's not my dominant position. So I got I was going up against like NCAA guys, like Div 2, and I got beat. And I'm like, this is not my strong suit. Like, I cannot be a tackle. Like, I'm not quick enough. My hand, like, I'm not good enough to be a left tackle. But it was just one of those things where you're like, if I could go back and do it again, I probably wouldn't raise my hand. I'd be like, I'm not really comfortable with this. So
at least you knew. And see, I was dumb. I'd just be like, because my preference was everybody wanted to play Mike linebacker. I preferred Sam or Will. That was just me. I preferred that because I knew I was going to drop into coverage, but I also knew I was going to get on some tackles. Now, when you call under, because we used to always call under and try to get pressure, I was like, bruh, by my senior year, I was like, this is after the first knee surgery. I was like, I don't have the speed like I used to. So I preferred to just be like, all right, move me to Will. I'll play in coverage. I'll do that. I can do that. That I feel you. I knew my limitations.
Yeah, I mean, I played on a team that I don't think we won a game for like 4 straight years. Like my age group, it was just like we were in that weird, like, it wasn't the greatest. The way Ottawa, like the way football was in Ontario at that time was really, it made our territory really hard to recruit people who were supposed to be in our territory. Didn't like, because the provincial, a lot of the guys, if you played provincial, a lot of them would actually go end up playing with that organization's city team, even though they might not have been, or not, shouldn't have been playing with them because they weren't in their territory. So it created some problems. But like, I mean, there was one year where
you froze again.
We had like 3 linemen. And like I'd play both sides of the field. I'd be basically everything but punt was what I was doing at one point. I got even some fullback time because biggest kid on the team. Shoulder pads made me look massive because I was 14 wearing shoulder pads that were meant for like college students. So
he was a big bastard. It fit you well.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was massive. Had the neck roll like the 90s. Man, it was a great time. It was a great time.
Oh man. Oh god, man. This has been great, bro. This has been fun.
Yeah. And before we end it, because it will be coming to an end now, we're hitting an hour. Dlineman has signed with the Ottawa Redblacks for 1 year, so another D lineman for Dlineman out of Montreal. Like, he was with Montreal, he signed with Ottawa for a 1-year deal. So,
well, damn, y'all just spending money left and right,
bro. We have like 20 D linemen under contract. I don't get it. We have 20 D linemen and like 8 offensive linemen. It makes no sense. I mean, it does, considering our like D line was like getting to the quarterback was a struggle last year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we have like 20 D linemen signed or 19 D linemen signed now. It's crazy.
That's wild, bro. That's wild.
Camp's going to be interesting. Camp's going to be a lot of fun, that's for sure.
Hopefully, Dinwiddie doesn't go off on a tirade. Just like
Hey, don't give him a reason to, right? Like that's
motherfuckers better win.
that. Hey, man, if you want your coach to stay off your back, you got to win. Do your job and win. I feel like that's a pretty easy task to be done, right?
You play to win the game. Type shit.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. To everyone who's tuned in on X, on YouTube, Facebook. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, you follow us. We will be back live tonight for the CFL Weekly Show at around 8 p.m. Eastern. It'll be myself, Coach, Cole, and Blake. So we'll be talking more in depth around the CFL as a whole, CFL free agency. I got a couple of comments to say about some of the other Ottawa moves that don't really align with this podcast. The coach knows exactly what I'm talking about, but we'll see you guys then. And remember, make sure you put your notifications on. There will be something sent out on our social, so you are all aware of it in probably about an hour. So thank you all for tuning in. We will catch you later tonight. And for anyone who's listening to this on podcast form, make sure you put your notifications on so you don't miss this being uploaded the very next day after it goes live. Have a good day, guys, and we'll see you later today.
Peace.